Good. 7 o'clock?
Looks like it's right,
Almost.
right now.
All right.
The Goochland County Planning Commission meeting will now come to order. Ms. Parker, do we have a quorum?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation led by Mr. Rockacharlie. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless our meeting tonight, that we participate in this public hearing with a value system that is fair to all the people here, that you guide us in our deliberation. And we thank you for the rain, and we ask you to especially bless the government of Goochland County and the United States of America. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody had a chance to look over the minutes?
Yes.
Anybody- Any
I move we
comments?
approve them as submitted.
Have a second? Any discussion? Motion's been made and properly second that we approve the minutes as written. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Those were for the June 4th meetings. How about the July 9th meeting of minutes?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. July 9th minutes are approved. We'll now open up the citizen comment period. And the citizen comment period is for you to say anything that's you're concerned about that is not on tonight's agenda. Please come forward, state your name and address. And you have 3 minutes to speak. So I'm going to open the citizen comment period. And we'll close the citizen comment period. Ms. Parker?
We have no request to defer additions, deletions, or changes to the order of the public hearings.
Okay.
Our first public hearing tonight is in District 1, CU 2020-00006, application by Gail Gardner, requesting a conditional use permit for a detached accessory family housing unit on tax map number 5-18-0-8-0 at 52683 Chop Road. The property is zoned RR Residential Rural and is 8.4 acres. The conditional use permit is required by Goochland County Zoning Ordinance, Section 15-132, in accordance with Section 15-285.a. The comprehensive plan designates this area as rural enhancement area.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. As Ms. Parker indicated, this is a conditional use permit for a second dwelling detached. The property is located at 5268 Three Chop Road in the western portion of the county. This is part of a subdivision called Royal Oak Estates, and the property is zoned RR, and most of the surrounding properties are zoned A1. The comprehensive plan designates this property and all the surrounding properties as rural enhancement area. And this is the aerial photo. It does show that the lot is vacant on this photo. However, this photo is from 2018. The property owner did construct a home in 2019, and they are occupying that home right now. So the property owners, David and Kelly Worthington, did construct that home in 2019. Ms. Worthington's mother, Gail Gardner, is the applicant. Ms. Gardner and her husband proposed to move into an accessory dwelling, a 1,064 square feet prefabricated home. And the property is 8.04 acres, which means it's not large enough to be subdivided. This would allow some care for aging parents. There was a community meeting held on June 23rd. No citizens attended, so there was no concerns identified. So review the conditions that are proposed by staff. So the use is that 2 dwelling units may be located on the property, subject to these conditions. The use limitation, only persons related to a resident of the principal dwelling unit shall reside in the second dwelling unit. That second dwelling unit could not be rented. Smoke detectors and carbon monoxide monitors must be installed in the second dwelling unit. Emergency access will need to be provided for that second dwelling unit. We're giving this a 5-year expiration date, which would take it to 2025, and our standard transfer of ownership condition. Be happy to answer any questions.
Do you know what type of home they're
It is a mobile home.
mobile home?
Is the main dwelling or just the secondary dwelling?
Just the secondary dwelling. The main dwelling is a permanent stick-built structure.
Would the applicant like to speak?
We just would like to have this approved so that when the time comes, we can put the home there. It may be sooner than later, so we can be closer to our family for our health and theirs.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Well, guess I'll open it to the public hearing if we're gonna have one. Anyone come? Well, I'll close the public hearing.
The public is
Gentlemen,
quiet.
what say you?
I think it's a wonderful idea. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded that we recommend this application for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
The next item is in District 2, RZ 2005-00011A, application by Rock River, Inc., requesting a proper amendment to rezoning case RZ 2005-00011 on tax map number 13-12-0-A-0 at 4668 New Line Road. The applicant requests to amend proffer number 2 to decrease the requirement for the building setback from 350 feet to 100 feet from New Line Road. The property is zoned residential rural RR and is 16.047 acres. The comprehensive plan designates this area as rural enhancement area.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mrs. Parker. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm Jamie Sherry. I'm the Assistant Director of Community Development. The request tonight is from Rock River, the applicant. The subject property is located in the northwestern portion of the county. The property is located about a half a mile north of Interstate 64 and about 1 mile south of the Louisa County line. The comprehensive plan designates this property as rural enhancement area. A single-family dwelling is something that is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The subject property is the one that is surrounded in red, and it is zoned RR. Majority of the property in the area is zoned agricultural, general agricultural A2. As you can see, just south of that property, there is 2 properties that are zoned RR. When the original 2005 rezoning went through for this case, the same family also did a rezoning for those properties. This property has been subdivided. The subject property this evening has not been subdivided. As you can see, majority of the area is vacant. There are some large lot single-family homes. There is a single-family home directly next to it, and then across the street, those are the closest ones. So just to give you a little bit of history, as I mentioned, the property was rezoned back in 2005 from A1 to RR with proffers. Although the zoning was approved, the reason for the rezoning was to allow for two residential lots. And although the property was approved, the rezoning was approved, the property was never subdivided. The 2005 proffers, there are two. One limits the split to two different parcels, one being 5 acres, one being 11.38 acres. And the second proffer, which is subject to the amendment tonight, says that no residential dwelling or accessory building shall be constructed within 350 feet of New Line Road. Excuse me. Exhibit A, oh my goodness, excuse me. Exhibit A was submitted with the 2005 rezoning, and it shows two separate parcels. There's a 5-acre parcel and a little over an 11-acre parcel. There is an easement that is drawn on that plat. This was never recorded because the plat was never approved, and so it never was recorded, so there is only one parcel there now. If the property were to, based on this plat, it could be subject to approval because it does meet today's current subdivision ordinance. As I mentioned, the applicant would like to reduce the setback from 350 to 100 feet on New Line Road. The proffers allow for the creation of 2 lots. That proffer would remain. The applicant has indicated they only plan to construct 1 house on the property, but they would like to retain the right to do so. So the reasoning for this request, the applicant was unaware of the the property was subject to the proffers and had purchased the land. They did a title search, and they did not disclose the proffers. The applicant has a contract with the buyer. The applicant is a new home construction builder with the buyer to build a single-family dwelling at the 100-foot setback line. The way the county handles recording proffers, when a plan of development or a subdivision is approved, the proffers are written on the plat or the plan. And a plat must be recorded at the courthouse before any new parcels were created. And since this was never subdivided, the proffers never made it to the courthouse. The county is currently working on digitizing all of our existing conditions and our existing proffers and attaching them on our website to the parcel viewer where you have the website. If you go to that, it will indicate that there are either proffers or conditions that the property is subject to. This should help make it a little easier for conditions and proffers to be known. So the requested 100-foot setback is more consistent with the requirements of the surrounding parcels than the proffered 350. If I went back to the aerial where I pointed out where that house is approximately 100 feet from the road. Actually, it's 75, and so are the existing houses around it. And both the A1 and the R zoning districts are at 75 feet. They are subject to the 350 feet strictly because of the proffer. Since 2005, the residential preservation district was created, and the intent of that was to protect the view sheds from public roadways and requires a 200-foot setback for single-family dwellings. So even this is 150 feet more than even in our most restrictive district, which is meant to protect the rural view sheds. There was a community meeting held on July 29th. In attendance was Board of Supervisor member Ms. Lasquelette and 2 citizens. There were questions about other setbacks in the area and if the applicant planned to subdivide the property. No one spoke in opposition. So the proposed amendment would be for number 2, and it's here is the black line version of it, but I'm going to read it as it would be approved if you all were to approve it. As I mentioned, the first proffer would remain. The second proffer would read, no residential dwellings or accessory buildings shall be constructed within 100 feet of New Line Road, State Route 619. I'd be happy to answer any questions. The applicant is also here. I'm sure he would like to answer any questions as well.
You know why it had 350-foot setback?
So I went back and I read through the minutes back in 2005 for both the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors meeting. There was some discussion at the Planning Commission meeting that perhaps there was a need for rural protection of the appearance. And whereas they did not make that discussion of the 350 feet at that meeting, it showed up in the at the board meeting, but there was no discussion, so I'm not sure exactly. We're making the assumption because that was the trend to try and limit the view shed impact. If you notice those other two parcels that are zoned RR, they're vacant currently, but those are subject to those 350-foot setbacks as well. They have the same exact proffers.
Would the applicant like to speak?
I mean, she stated it pretty well. I don't know if you guys
Come forward. State your name and address.
Jeff Densmore, with Rock River Homes. I reside at 1447 Meredith Mill Road, Broadnax, Virginia. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions, if any of you have any questions. I think my whole position in this is we did all of our due diligence when we purchased this lot. We were looking for a lot for a home buyer. We located the lot. It was the right acreage. It was everything. We called. We asked the setbacks. We were given that the setbacks off New Line Road was 75 feet. We proceeded on. We did our title searches. Nothing came up. When we went to apply for our site plan, Ms. Baker evidently was here in 2005 and says, hold on, wait a minute. I think this has proffers. And she went to a drawer and pulled out the paper, and then here we are. So we have invested, we have purchased a lot that is basically useless to us at this moment. And I'm hoping that we can get this approved and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, we'll open up the public hearing. Come forward if you have, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes. Well, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Gentlemen.
I'm comfortable with making the motion that we recommend approval
I'll second it.
as stated.
Okay, motion has been made and properly seconded. We recommend this for approval. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Any old business, Ms. Parker?
No, sir?
Any other business?
No, sir.
Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We stand adjourned.